Seven's a lucky number, right? Well, today I've got 7 bourbons you absolutely must own right now. Hey everybody, it's Matt. Thank you once again for coming back to Wrestling with Whiskey. And if you don't subscribe and hit that bell, I swear to God, I will reach through this screen and headlock you, squeezing your head until it is plum purple, and you hit that bell and get alerts so you know every time a video goes live. So today I want to take you through the bourbons that you should have right now. And all of these are relatively available. Some of them are market dependent because they're smaller distilleries still growing. But most of them, if they're in your market, can be found on any shelf in your city. I'm going through big heritage distillers, Kentucky born and bred stalwarts, and also throwing in some newer craft and growing brands that if you don't know, you absolutely should. First is the bourbon that I recommend to almost absolutely everyone. It is a deal you cannot pass up. It is actually the most affordable bourbon on this entire list. Wild Turkey 101. And I know before some of you, again, if you're new to whiskey, Wild Turkey might send shivers down your spine of shots in college or that's mornings after that just left you wrecked. But trust me, if you take this budget bourbon and sit with it, while it is inexpensive, that does not mean by any means it is bottom shelf. Sit with it for a second and really taste it, and you'll find so many enjoyable flavors. Not to mention, from a stats perspective, it's one of the most high quality bourbons you can get in the $20 to $25, less than $25. Usually a blend of 6 to 8 years, sometimes older. 101 proof. Most bourbons at this price are 90 or below. Kentucky heritage distiller, the Russell family. Wild Turkey. Now let that all sink in and go out and buy a bottle. Next is a bottle that I am terrified is going to start becoming the next wave of popularity. It is one of the, I'm not going to call it the best kept secret, but it is a great value, and I'm surprised it's on shelves as much as it is, and I hope it stays. And that's Maker's Mark Cask Strength. $39.99 on virtually any shelf in the country that stocks Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark, another heritage distillery, has been doing this, making wheated bourbon. Everybody loves their Weller brands. But I'm telling you, similar mash bill, style of whiskey, they go in at a low entry proof, which means that at cask strength, this ain't punching you in the face. We're talking 110, 115 tops, which makes it a nice, bold, strong, but not crazy strong pour. And for such a good value. Maker's Mark has been doing this. They make one product, and that's wheated bourbon. Cask strength, $39.99. Go get some. Next, we're going to take a trip back to Wild Turkey, but we're going to switch to the Russell's Reserve line. And while Russell's Reserve single barrels are some of the best I've ever had, those are at $60. Those are so dependent on who's picking them. But I'm telling you, a stalwart is Russell's Reserve 10-year bourbon. Another one. Best kept secret in whiskey. Do not tell your friends. Tell them to watch this video, but do not tell your friends about this whiskey. Russell's Reserve 10-year is on every shelf for $39. I see it on sale for $35 most months. $39.99 usually, a 10-year age-stated bourbon from the Wild Turkey Distillery. Are you crazy? Everyone lauds over Eagle Rare, one of the few 10-year age-dated bourbons out there that used to be on the shelf for $30, $40, but now that's disappeared everywhere. But here's this one. Nobody's talking about it. Wild Turkey, 90 proof, 10-year, stated, all the time on your shelf. Why are you still in front of the computer? Go get it. And next is a personal favorite of mine. Another one that I'm just flabbergasted is always available like it is, and that is Old Forester 1920. 115 proof, which to me is almost like the perfect proof point. I used to love everything cask strength, but call me old, but sometimes it's just a bit much. And so I love to have that 110, 115. It's really bold, but it's not going to knock me out of my chair. Old Forester has been doing some amazing things. That Brown Forman engineering, that have their own cooperage, they control the barrels process even. They do a lot of things really, really, really well, and that brand has been on fire lately. The whole Whiskey Row series is top notch, but 1920 out there, $60. It's the more expensive one on this list, but you are guaranteed a great higher proof bourbon, quality content every single time. It is something I would have on my shelf always. Now, getting into some smaller brands, a brand I've been very, very impressed with everything they're doing, is Bardstown Bourbon Company. And now, while I've covered ad nauseum their Discovery series as well as their collaboration series where they do finishes with various types of spirits and other companies, which have been very impressive, those are in the premium tier, and if you can get them, great, but they're not for this list. What is, though, is their more flagship product currently, and that's the Bardstown Bourbon Company Fusion series. This introduces a good chunk of their own liquid, which is anywhere from 3 to 4 years old, and blend it with some well-aged stock, some 12, 13-year stock. But most of it in the bottle is Bardstown Bourbon Company whiskey. It's awesome to see the blending. I love to see it. Most people don't think blend is a good thing, but I love the blends of different types of whiskey. Rye bourbon, wheated bourbon, and then a well-aged sourced Kentucky bourbon. And the blending they do is so well, and each time, each iteration is so subtly different, but noticeable. $60 anywhere Bardstown Bourbon Company is. They're not everywhere yet, but they're expanding very, very quickly. Keep an eye out for when they're coming to your area. This one is always on the shelf here in Chicago, $60, and it is a very, very fascinating blend. It's something I recommend always checking out. Now, another company that's been on the rise lately is Woodenville. Woodenville does some really great things, and what I love about their product is all theirs. They never launched a 2-year product, a 3-year product. They waited till about 4 or 5 years before they put their bourbon out, all grown in-house, their own liquid, and it's really unique, and it is one of the best bourbons outside of Kentucky. Now, as bourbon production expands and more people outside Kentucky are making it more and more and more, Woodenville is kind of the standard for non-Kentucky bourbon. They're doing such great things, and it is available in the markets they're in pretty much everywhere. I see it at the grocery store here for at $35, $40. You get a 5-year bourbon, 90 proof, really nice, interesting flavors going on. And it's something new aside from your regular Kentucky stuff that I think is worth trying. So Woodenville Straight Bourbon, check it out. And finally, I think my favorite newer company to come into the scene the last couple of years is New Riff. Now, New Riff keeps it simple, but keeps it so good. They have a 4-year product line, bottled in bond, which is still fun to see in 2021, but they do it. Bottled in bond is their standard release. They have some awesome flavor profiles going on. Their stuff does, I hate when people say this, I hate it, but their stuff does taste older than it is. This tastes like 6 to 8 year whiskey. That is not a ploy, a plan, or whatever. It tastes like 6 to 8 year whiskey. And if you try one of their single barrels, that's not what I'm talking about here, the regular bottle and bond. But if you try their single barrels, they're so vastly different and interesting. It's amazing to try them. But their standard bottle and bond on the shelf for about $40. Noticing a theme here? $39.99 for a lot of these bourbons that are available almost everywhere. Now, New Riff also expanding. They're a little bit slower than some of the other ones. They're gaining territory, gaining ground. And I'm telling you, when they hit your territory, when they hit your market, snatch you up some. And if you have a chance, check out their single barrels because they're some of the best, just like the ones we picked for Wrestling with Whiskey. And speaking of which, if you want to help us pick barrels and join me on barrel picks, join our barrel club. Patreon.com/wrestlingwithwhiskey. You can join it, and you can also be part of this channel and a lot of other things as well. It's a great community. Come join us. But that's the 7 bourbons you've got to have right now. There's your lucky number 7. Do yourself a favor, stock up, and have some of the best available bourbons right now.